Hey guys, it's Sheridan. Welcome back to the Rooted in Jesus podcast. And today I'm here with my friend Josh. So we're going to be talking a little bit about like his journey to America and being a missionary and all that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll get into like how you came here and stuff.
Hello, my name is Josh Vega. I am from Honduras. I was born and I grew up in Honduras. Honduras is a small country about the size of Tennessee in Central America. I grew up there. My parents are missionaries. My dad's a pastor. It's very interesting because they're both from different countries. My dad's from Honduras, my mom is from El Salvador, and they met in Guatemala. Um, but fast forward a couple years, and they got married. My older sister was born, then me, and then my younger sister. So I have two sisters. I'm right in the middle, which, yeah, lucky me. I studied engineering in college, so that was really fun and confusing sometimes. I've always enjoyed working in camps down in Honduras. When I graduated high school, I started working in camps, adventure camps, doing high ropes courses, rappelling, rock climbing, going out camping, hiking, doing all that fun stuff. About 4 years ago, I came up to Bancroft Bible Camp to be a counselor for that first year, and afterwards, I was offered the position of program director, which I said I would be for 1 year, but this is now my third year as the program director.
And that was actually my first year being a counselor when Josh came, so that was pretty cool. So the story of him coming to Bible camp is pretty funny. So I'll have to let him tell you guys that.
It's a funny story, and it's quite a long story, which starts 36 years back before I was born. A man from Tennessee who has been involved with Bancroft Bible Camp since he was a kid. He came here as a camper and was a counselor here, and then he became a member of the board when he grew up. He's been on the board of Bancroft for over 30 years. He went down to Honduras, met my parents, met me when since I was a baby, so he's known me since I was about yay big. Mr. Kenneth Hill. So it goes all the way back till then. But it was interesting because before coming up here 4 years ago, I already knew about Bancroft Bible Camp. Some 22 years ago, when I was about 10, 11, my family was called as missionaries to this area. And we were called up because there were a lot of Hispanics moving into the area and nobody was preaching to them. Nobody had church services in Spanish, so a lot of them weren't going to church and weren't being ministered to. So the Lord calls my family and I up to this area. My parents worked in the ministry, and after exactly 1 year, God told us, "All right, you guys did your job. It's time for you to go back home." So we went back home, and time went by. I'm finishing up with my engineering degree. I'm working for a company up there. I have a pretty decent job. And so I'm sitting one day in front of my computer, and all of a sudden I see a video of Bancroft. And it was posted by Mr. Ken Hill. And he just posted up and said, "Hey, we need male counselors. Please pray for Bancroft, that the Lord may cover this need." So as a joke, I asked, "Hey, can I go?" Ha, 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 ha. And I thought it was going to be laughed at because I had applied to other camps in the past in the US and in Canada, and I'd been told I couldn't come up here because for some reason or another, there was always an excuse. So I thought, well, maybe it's not God's time for me to go. So I had been, and all this time I had been working in camps and adventure camps down there. So Mr. Kenneth Hill knew about this. So he sends me the application for a counselor application. Um, and he's like, "All right, fill it in, send it, and we'll see what becomes of it." In his Machiavellian mind, he's already thinking, "I'm going to be up here." So I have an interview with Brett Flora and with Aunt Martha. And Aunt Martha remembered that I had been here as a kid, that I came to Bancroft. That 1 year that my family and I lived here, I came to Bancroft as a camper. And I remember the bits and pieces of Bancroft, and um, while watching the video, I was like, "Oh, I remember that. I remember that. That was not there, and that's different." So I have an interview with them, and everything goes fine. They ask me their questions, of course, and I mumble and stumble through them like I'm doing right now. And they're like, "Okay, fine, great. We'd love to have you here. When can you be up here?" Keep in mind, I am in Honduras, 2,000 miles south, 2,000 miles give or take, south, in my home, in front of my computer. And I'm like, okay, I have a visa, I have a passport, I don't have money for a ticket. Um, Maybe I can work something out to be there mid June, possibly end of June, first week of July. And they're like, no, we need you here like before July. This is last weeks of April and maybe beginning of May. So I'm like, okay, let me pray about it. And they're like, no, we already know you're coming here. So when can you get here? I'm like, all right, I will try to be there first week of June. Next day, I walk into my job and I talk to my boss and I tell him, hey, I'm quitting. This is my last day. I'm leaving. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I thought I was going to be here longer, but I need to quit like today. We got all our paperwork done that day. I left for home. I talked with my parents and I'm like, I'm going to Tennessee. And then I started praying for the Lord to provide for me to come here. And of course, God being God and being so amazing, within a couple weeks, somebody donated enough money for me to get a ticket and be able to be here first week of June.
And it's so crazy because we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Me and Catherine, we were like, there is like no boys. Like, what are we going to do? And God just provided the way. And it's crazy because God does that so many times. When you think there's no possible way God is going to provide me the money that I need to get somewhere, or there's no way God's going to do this, He moves and He does it. And it's just so cool. But that's His story of coming here. I guess we'll go through the next question is like, what has God been teaching you through 2020? Because he came back. He's back in Tennessee for camp because we were supposed to have camp this summer and it didn't happen. So just talk about what God has been doing through the camp this year and all that kind of stuff and
Um,
what he's been teaching you through it.
it's been a hard summer. It's been a hard year because, of course, COVID and quarantine and everything. But as a program director for camp, I was kind of disappointed and a little bit depressed because I'm here for camp. I love camp. I want to have the kids over and the teens and be able to have Bible study with them and play and have fun and show them how wonderful God is and how wonderful His creation is. But we can't do that because of COVID. So our ministry director, Derek, and our staff, we sat down and we just started going through all the possibilities of us having camp, but all of them were just too mind-boggling, and we came up with we can't do it. We can't do our regular summer, which was heartbreaking, not only for us but for our counselors because they wanted to be here. They were ready to be here and anxious to come and learn and serve. Through it all, we came up with ideas of how can we serve our community. So we came up with an idea of having family camps, which were 3-hour spots, which a family could come here, which was great because they could be practicing social distancing, but still be out and have fun. I digress because we actually started with scavenger hunts. It was an hour scavenger hunt, and same thing. Family could be of one family at a time. They could be here practicing social distancing, and they were able to have fun. Then we went to family camps, which were 3 hours long. We had activities planned out for them and a short devotional so they could work together through it as a family. So we thought about, all right, they can have fun, they can come out, they can be outside of the house, which was so great for a lot of them, and they can strengthen their family. by doing activities together and learning together. And that was for June. July, we still had some family camps, but we also would open up our pool with what we call splash days. And 3 hour slots so families could come and use our pool. And it filled up really fast. We were booked throughout the whole of July, and we even about a week or so in August, and we were full. So it was great to see families and everybody come out here. And I know a lot of people don't really like to say the numbers and all, but usually we have around 270 campers during the summer, give or take. But this year we found out that we would have more than 1,600 people coming onto camp. That's, even parents and grandparents and kids coming into camp and being able to have fun out here. So that was very, very encouraging for us. And I think in a way, the Lord was teaching us, hey, it is not just camp. You can serve and you can use this place in so many different ways to spread the gospel and to serve your community.
And yeah, the splash days was fun. Me and my mom and my siblings came, and that was helpful for me too. I missed camp a lot. So just being there in the pool, relaxing, being in God's creation was awesome to do. And I'm so glad that y'all got to do that this summer. Is there anything else that you want to share that God has been teaching you this summer?
God has been speaking to me, and this is very personal because our usual summer, everything is rush, rush, rush. We have to set this up. We have to go to the next activity. We have to do this. As a program director, I'm in charge of all of this, of all the activities, games, and the counselors, and junior counselors, and staff, and all. So, it's very stressing. And I have to be rushing everywhere. So, in a way, God has been talking to me this summer, and it's like, hey, slow down and listen to me. And it's been very encouraging because even though it has been some rushing around here because we really haven't shut down. There's still stuff going on. We've gotten donations and there's still a lot of work to be done and organizing stuff. So it's still a little bit stressful. It's still a little bit rushed. There's still that rush that we got to do stuff and prepping things for activities and all. But God is still there and he's like, hey, slow down. There is no rush. It will get done. And it's very encouraging because he's motivated us to rest. And he's pushed us into this time of rest. And we're like, thank you, God. Not exactly what we wanted, but we know you have a purpose and thank you.
That's so good because that's definitely a thing that I think he's been teaching a lot of people. Slow down because we were so used, the whole world was so used to go, 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 go. Do this, do this, do this. You got to work, hustle. That's what our world and our culture tells us that we have to do, but it's so good to be still and just enjoy God's presence and really enjoy the things that he's placed in your life and not have to rush. That's really good. So this is the fun question that I like to ask everybody. What is your favorite Bible verse or Bible story? Or you can share both.
I'm gonna cheat on this one. And I know most people would think, oh, you can't cheat with that question, but yes, I can. Because my favorite story in the Bible is actually the story of love that is all of this. That's all this book. It's a story of love of God towards us from beginning to end. In it are many, many chapters, which some of them are really amazing. And it shows God's hand and his sovereignty throughout everything. But it's my favorite story is this love story, his love for us, and what he has done from the moment of creation to that moment on the cross. And even beyond that, that he loves us so much that he tells us, hey, guys, this will also happen. And this will happen. And this will happen. And just remember, I'm coming back soon for you. He gives us a short glimpse of what that life with him will be. It's an amazing story of love. So all of it is my favorite. So, I cheated.
And that is true. All of Scripture is woven together and it just goes perfectly together. And that's what I love about reading, like, all different places in the Bible, because it's all correlates with one story, just like you said. And that's God's love toward us. And that's a beautiful thing. So, what is your favorite verse?
My favorite verse is actually Joshua 1 8 and 9. And I'm going to read it. And it says, "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." These two verses I hold very close and dear to my heart. These were two of the first verses I ever learned, and they were taught to me by my parents. And especially verse 8, where it says, "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it." This is God's book of love. In it are His laws, and they're there to protect us. And just like there are rules to protect a child, God has given us laws and direction and what we should do and should not do. And those are for our protection because He loves us so much. And it's very important to me to be in the Word every day, to read every day, to meditate on it, to think about it throughout the day. Because then, how will I know what is right, what is wrong? And I love verse 9, where it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." When we spend time meditating on His Word, when we think about it constantly, He is with us. Why are we to be afraid? Why should we be afraid when He is with us? He has given us His Word, His law. He has given us His direction. So why should we be afraid?
That is so good, especially in this time of so much fear and anxiety. We need to be in this book. We've always needed to be in the Word. We've always needed to be in this book all the time, but I just think it puts it into perspective more now that we need to be in it more than ever. We're getting closer to the end of time. Each day, time goes by, and we need to know God's truth, and we need to draw near to Him and delight in His law, just like that verse says.
Absolutely. And I mean, and like you said, in this time where everything is driven by fear, there's fear to go out because you might get sick or you might get hurt. There's protests and riots going on, and people are scared and afraid. They're even afraid of those who have promised to protect us, which are police. There's people that are so scared to be stopped and questioned by police. And I'm like, you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be afraid. And there's a story that just reminds me of this verse so much. It's the story of how Jonathan defeated the Philistines. And he was so instrumental in the people of Israel defeating it, as after his father Saul was crowned king, the Philistines came and they attacked. And at one point, Jonathan is like, "Hey, let's go fight them." And he was so confident that God was with him that he told the guy right beside him, "Hey, let's climb up this mountain." And it wasn't an easy climb. It was vertical. They were basically doing rock climbing without any ropes or anything, or any safety. But Jonathan is so confident, and he tells his friend, he's like, "Why should we be afraid? They're telling us, come up to it. They're challenging us. Let's go. God is with us." And why was he so confident? It's because he kept this book of the law so close to his heart. And he was so sure that God was with them. So he's like, we shouldn't be scared. We're going to go and we're going to defeat them. So that's just to show us how keeping this book really close to our hearts, how being in it every single day can take away that fear. And it just reassures us of God's promises. It reassures us that God is with us. So there's no need to be afraid.
But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that gives you guys some encouragement, and I pray that you guys dig into the word. That's always something that I want you guys to do with this podcast. I want you guys to be encouraged when you listen to it or watch it, and I want you guys to dig and draw closer to God, because He wants a relationship with you, and He wants you to draw closer to Him each day. And yeah, we're not going to be perfect, but He wants us to do our best to draw closer to Him each day. And we're going to fall short, but seek God out, because when you do, He will help you through hard times. And we don't need to just seek Him out in the hard times. We need to seek Him out all the time. So I hope this encouraged you. I hope Josh's story encouraged you. Maybe you will want to be a missionary, because there's so many people that are lost and still don't know the truth. So go where God leads you, even if it's crazy like his story. He didn't think he could get to Tennessee, but God made a way. Hope you guys are encouraged, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Love you guys. Bye.